Right, with a bit of small tech difficulties. Nonetheless, that's sorted out. We are live. In hindsight, is what we can see right up on the screen. We are back for Game Week 3 preview, looking at Game Week 2. Welcome back to the Game Week Navigators. I'm Aditya, and as usual, I have Som with me. In hindsight is a very interesting name. We'll discuss about that later with the man on the screen. But two of my panelists had an excellent Game Week 2, I would say. Sankalp is not there with us in this episode. He scored a century.
Mind blowing
Credit to
score.
Haaland's mind-blowing score Game Week 2 and triple captain Haaland worked for him. He didn't tell us. He gave us a surprise. But nonetheless, Sankalp, well done. But I'll hand over to Som. 87 points. Not bad. Not use a triple captain, but still a great score.
Yeah, very happy. I mean, disclaimer about Sankalp. So I like barged him like, why didn't you tell us? We could have discussed this on the pod. So it was like, yeah, it was a very much last minute decision for him, and we could not cover that in the pod, unfortunately. But yeah, pretty happy with my game week. I think back to back 85 ish around score. So I'm happy with the start. I hope it can continue. Uh, as of now, the Haaland and Salah premium draft combined is paying off. Let's see how long does that pay off for us.
Well
It's in.
said. I mean, both. If the what do you say, the premium worked well, and with that said, I mean, if you pick the right budget players, then I think you would have had a great pick. I think that's what happened. If you
I
picked
think,
the
I mean,
best.
speaking particularly about my team, I think if I had not gone for Konza from Liverpool and I would have rather gone for, let's say, a Konza from Aston Villa, I effectively could have rolled a transfer this game week as well for game week 3. So, like, I'm pretty much like, happy about the rest of the team. I'm not getting complacent, but yeah, there was a possibility I could have. But yeah, anyways, we take both the wins and the losses. It is what it is. Let's move on. I think in hindsight is something like I suggested because
You actually started in hindsight. If I had not picked Kwanzaa, you
yeah.
already started
So
it.
yeah, the episode title actually, when we are discussing it, made sense because uh, not exactly in hindsight, that we have to crib about it, but I think generally a 2 game weeks worth of data is like in a bit of hindsight. It's I'm not saying it's enough data, but yeah, it's a good enough data to look back at some of the players or not be reactionary and avoid those jerking knees in that sense. So yeah, why not, Aditya, take it over? Let's look at some of the players that we are actually particularly
Yes.
speaking about in this section, right? And what people are most interested about. Let's get on with that.
Yes, I mean, buy hold sell is probably I think one of the most talked about sort of discussions that people are having in this particular game week, looking up to game week 3 is if you have performed very bad, I think there are a lot of wildcarders at the moment and a lot of managers who are probably using two FTs and maybe one hit to sort out the meaningless at the moment. So I think focusing more on this is what we thought would be the right thing. And a lot of interesting names in the buys. Some might be players who played well last week or kind of performed well over the last 2 game weeks. Although fair enough to say 2 game weeks of data is pretty small, but nevertheless that's how form picks up eventually. What do you think of the names here?
I think obviously the biggest surprise or like the biggest outcome of the game week from any point of is the Wolves and Chelsea match. Nobody expected a 6-2 kind of a scoreline. It was reminiscent of what Chelsea did against Aston Villa, I think, last season, which was around, I think, a 5-1 score where Cole Palmer, if you remember, famously scored 4 goals. So it was something similar. Like, people were talking about Haaland and what Salah would do, what probably a son would do, but nobody really expected Chelsea to burst because what we saw of Chelsea, it was not bad in game week 1, but obviously we did not expect this kind of a performance. If I also have to, keeping in mind that this performance had a lot to do with Wolves as well, right? So
Hmm.
first, let's
That's
dissect what happened. Initially, the major thing was, uh, as the man on the thumbnail suggests, Christopher Nkunku, who did not start, who was a season favorite and uh, lauded a lot across the community. I think a lot of people, roughly 35-40% people started with him. So the biggest, I would say, the surprise. thing was him missing the game altogether. I mean, I understand that him not starting or him not coming on, but I think he missed the game entirely in its
No,
entirety.
he
Or
came on for
yeah,
one pointer.
he came on for a 1 pointer, and it was a bit non-consequential sub. So what we thought going into midweek when they were playing for that qualification playoff game for the Europa Conference League is that it was probably something to do with match fitness and getting him up to speed, but that was not the case. Another surprising thing is like they changed both their wingers, right? So Noni Madueke and Mudrich, both of them had not started the last game week, and this also brought about a very effective, I would say, kind of a positional change for Cole Palmer, because Cole Palmer was no longer on the right like what he was playing
Hmm.
against Man City. That was also due to the fact that they were playing three central midfielders or central defensive midfielders in that sense in that particular City match. This match, they obviously Lavia had a bit of injury, and I think they started with Caicedo and I
And
think
Enzo.
was Enzo, and Enzo was playing a very advanced kind of a role, right? So Cole Palmer now playing number 10, which I think in this particular Maresca kind of a formation or whatever he's setting up the team as, which is effectively like a 4-2-4 kind of an attacking um formation. I think it makes sense, and probably that would be his best position. Saying that, due to the fact that if you look at the hat trick of what Madueke scored, all three were assisted by Cole Palmer, and it was effectively on the side of Ryan Nouri, right? So who is
Yeah,
also
he was already
right? So he was
he was
leaving
a
a lot
booked.
of space behind, right? There was an interesting stat. So these things, a lot of things, accumulated, and it helped towards what was like an exceptional score line, right? And if you look at the goals, pretty much the entire hat trick was exactly the same kind of goals, right? Similar kind of passes and similar kind of finishes, right? So a lot of, as I said, a lot of has been contributed about with Wolves. Interesting thing, I know nothing FPL related in that sense. There have been 5 instances in FPL, or rather in Premier League, where a hat trick has happened, where the same player and the same assister was there for all the three goals, right? And in FPL relevant terms, if we think about it, there was Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry. There was Heung-min Son and Harry Kane from couple of seasons back when they battered, I think, Leicester or somebody for 6 goals. And there was Cole Palmer and Nani Madueke. Why I mentioned these names is like you can understand from the other two names, like these are partnerships that are usually fruitful for FPL, right? So if what I'm trying to derive to the point is, if this is the formation that FPL, I mean, like Chelsea keep on playing with Madueke and Cole Palmer, I think both of them are not a bad option. In saying that, I would immediately not probably jump towards buying a Madueke. I would rather, like love to watch for one more week in that sense as to whether Maresca persists with this particular formation or not. But Cole Palmer in any day of the week is a very good buy, right? So there is no question about. It's not exactly a knee-jerk reaction, and the beautiful thing about it is also that Chelsea get on a very good run. You're entering at the right time with a home match, and then as the fixture reads for the next five, it's Bournemouth away, West Ham away, Brighton home, and Forest home. So all of them from an attacking standpoint is like absolutely brilliant. Right? I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, you feel anything about
I
Chelsea?
mean, I mean, one thing was when after Nuri got booked, right? I think it kind of became very difficult for him to defend Maduiki, and that's why they took him to the cleaners. But other than that, we could immediately see an impact of Palmer playing more of in the central role and that kind of helping the attack. But I'm more concerned about what is Chelsea's strongest front line. They obviously have Pedro Neto, Jean Felix. Uh, I don't know who's going to play when. That's my concern. But I think so far, to say the least, I think Palmer and Maduiki are sort of nailed for the short run it now. But yeah, they kind of ripped apart Wolves. Nkunku, yeah, I got one pointer. It's so painful. I was like, at least this guy can come on for 15 minutes and at least get an assist. At least I'll take 3 pointers, 4 pointers out. But nonetheless, nothing worked out. I think he just barely played the last 10 minutes. It's pretty weird at that point, but uh, fair to say. I mean,
Adioka is a good buy, I would say. Like if he keeps on starting like how he did, I think he is a very decent buy. Right?
yeah.
Let's move on to
I
Smith
mean,
Rowe. I think we have spoken about Smith Rowe in the past as well. I mean, starting right from the midfielder pod that we did preseason. I think Smith Rowe is a player that I am owning from Game Week 1 itself. I started with Smith Rowe, right? And there was I specifically took him for especially looking at these two fixtures. Like so, there was Leicester home and Ipswich away. Both are promoted team, and generally Spithrow I would say is not a unproven quantity or unknown quantity in the Premier League. He has been there. He had played for the main team for Arsenal, and he has in the past scored. So we know the kind of, if you want to call it, the pedigree. We know the pedigree of the player. He is not somebody who is shy of finishing a chance. So these were always decent matches. I think looking at the run, right? Not it's still Ipswich away, West Ham home, and Newcastle home, and Forest away. So all of these, especially Ipswich away, again a promoted team, and we can see a bit of pattern forming where probably I'm not sure. Like Ipswich might be a bit more expressive in the home games, right? So defensively they might not be that dust out. Definitely a good hold. Obviously, if you have him, you hold him. I would say it's a good buy as well, because the next two fixture, although against a tougher opponent, they are both home games, right? But I would like to caveat this by saying Smith Rowe essentially is not getting a lot of shots. It's not like that he has been taking 3-4 shots per match and then he's getting a goal. So this was like he got one shot and he got one goal, right? So make that decision and keep your expectation in the check. You don't expect an immediate return. I mean, he's not a Salah kind of a player that you'll get a Salah kind of a return. Obviously, you have to temper your expectation as per a 5.5 million midfielder that you're taking.
exactly, rightly said. I mean, 5.5, 5.6 now. I mean, you can't expect a double digit haul every week. I mean, even if you get four pointer, 5 pointers, odd double digit haul, I mean, pretty much to say
The
you're getting what
most
you paid
heartening
for.
thing is to see that he has scored the goal and he has got the maximum bonus. So that is probably the positive that is, if we look at Smith Rowe in that sense. But we have to temper the expectation of expecting a goal every match, because we can understand that's not going to happen.
Next player we have is Morgan Gibbs White, and there was some interesting numbers that I found in terms of Nottingham Forest. If we see, in terms of chances created from team, they are like 28 chances they've created and five big chances, 37 goal attempts, 24 shots in the box, four shots from counter attack. And Forest defensively have also been playing pretty well this season. And at the start, we were discussing a bit about Gibbs White or Hudson Odoi or Wood or players like that. And probably more or less the team is heavily kind of relying and revolving around Gibbs White, right, in terms of Forest's attack and build up.
Absolutely, because even if we look at the positional map, I was looking at the positional map of this particular match. We don't have the slide right now, but you can see like Chris Wood is effectively dropping in a bit deeper into the midfield, trying to link up the play, and the beneficial players out of that mostly are Elanga and Gibbs White, right? So we can see that counter attacking. I think they played against Saints like Southampton this game week, and they had the highest number of big chances, like six big chances. As you said, they took 23 shots. So that's like
I
something
mean,
very heartening to see. They are very attacking. Morgan Gibbs White, particularly if we talk about, yeah, as here Aditya has put up. So no, Nottingham Forest had the highest number of shots, even beating Liverpool in the process. And we know how attacking Liverpool are in that sense, right? Also, chances created, Forest are there along with Fulham and Liverpool. So, all in all, a very um, good, heartening kind of a stats to look at, especially and especially if you look about for Gibbs White, I think he's an excellent differential in that sense. I don't think he's very highly owned for this particular game week if you're looking at, right? And even the run going forward, probably you bench him if you have that affordability where you have a cheap midfielder whom we'll discuss probably in the form of Morgan Rogers. So you can rotate that and play that person and bench for Liverpool, and then again Brighton away and Fulham home. Very decent chunk of four fixtures. So somebody definitely to consider and to look at. Plus, he has added
Under
being a penalty taker.
yes, under 5% ownership is around 4.7%. So big differential.
Absolutely. Bang on. Let's talk about Brighton. I think the team that is taking everybody by fancy, right? You would be probably the best person to speak about Brighton because you saw the match entirely, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I did see the game. I'm a United fan, to make it clear, so don't expect me to give like 100% accurate Brighton, point of view. But yeah, I mean, as far as what I saw, Jean Pedro was dropping in behind. He was helping the attack, is what I noticed. And man, that Yankuba Minte, he was a menace on one side, and literally going past players here and there. Welbeck,
He was the
fantastic.
most advanced player, like
Yeah,
by
I mean,
far.
see him. Yeah, that was one thing I noticed. And Welbeck took his chance. Obviously, you can't put such chances on a plate for him. And Mitoma also looked good. I mean, overall, Brighton they played well. To be honest, United. Let's not even talk about United at this point. But the fixtures that we have post the Arsenal game are the two ones where I think Brighton might go out and express themselves. Obviously, they are playing kind of the same attacking brand of football that we're seeing, and there are like 3 to 4 good names at the moment that we have a chance to pick out from. Obviously, John Pedro is one. We've just put Brighton attacker there because there are options. I mean, we can't just pinpoint the best yet. There's Welbeck, there's Pedro, there's Mitoma, there's Vinte. Four good options. I mean, anyone on any given day can, probably get returns. And yeah, overall, they played well. I mean, fixture swing, they might improve better.
Yeah, I think if you already own a Brighton attacker, I don't think even like Arsenal away, obviously the toughest defense in the league and it's difficult, but I wouldn't be shy from playing that particular player against Arsenal as well if you can afford to bench well enough. But if you're looking to buy, probably this game week is not the right entry point. You will rather get into Brighton attacker from next game week where they have two pitch of like home matches, Ipswich home and Newcastle Forest home. Right? Even after that, Chelsea away and Tottenham home, not a bad fixture, attacking wise at least. Right? So from next game week onwards, home matches. What I saw of the highlights, I did not watch this match live. What I felt was like Brighton, obviously brilliant going forward. United, I felt were a bit sloppy. Right? Although they were
Don't talk about United. We were crap. Just forget us.
we need to talk about United because we have the segments where people are looking to sell and hold. So no, let
So I
me
think
yeah
let's
clarify.
just keep it there.
Yeah, so they were a bit sloppy in that sense. As for what you said about Joao Pedro, the good thing, heartening thing is to see is that he actually played till post 90 minutes as well, and I by that time Brighton had done five substitutes already, so that was really good to see that you always want somebody who's assured for minutes, and exactly for the reason why Joao Pedro could have been there and scored that particular chance, but overall, I would not say he was like exceptional and very lively. Like he had a lot of chance, but he played decent. I think he's a good buy. Welbeck is also a very decent buy, but they have bought a new player in Ruter
Router.
to see how that gets integrated. Welbeck, I don't expect him to play 90 minutes every match. That's for sure. He'll get subbed around that 70, 75 minute mark.
70. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, I think the hot topic for the
The
game
team
week.
that the team that has the swing
Yeah.
begins.
So Aston Villa is the team that has the major like fixture swing, right? Which might push a lot of people to even wildcard, which we'll be eventually discussing at the end of this pod. What is a like a knee-jerk wildcard if you're looking at it? But their run, if I just read it out: Leicester away, Everton home, Wolves home, Ipswich away, United home. I think even after this, they have couple of more good fixtures, if I'm not wrong. So
Let me just get that up for you. Here you
yeah,
go.
quickly,
It's
yeah,
just
as you
one
can,
pull up.
yeah. So they are second on the fixture ticker after Arsenal, right? I mean, surprisingly, Arsenal are there even with Tottenham and Man City, but yeah,
It's
even
not
after,
sorted. It's just
yeah,
sorted by the name.
not sorted by difficulty. Okay, got it. If it would have been, it's they have the best run of fixture. Even after United, they have Fulham. So an amazing chunk of fixture takes you right up to the second international break, which will happen around the game week 8 mark, 8 to 9 mark, right? So absolutely assured starters. I think this. I'm a very old school manager. I'm a big believer of fixtures, beats, form, and generally FPL points. So the only thing we did need to discuss is which attacker we need to get into. So if we look at generally the positional map and how Villa are setting up, the incredible thing that we are getting to see is Morgan Rogers is the furthest forward, right? He's even positionally higher than Watkins, which I would say I am again a Morgan Rogers owner from Game Week 1 itself. I generally did not expect this because my expectation going ahead with Rogers was that from last season that he'll be starting on the left, right? But he's playing either the number 10 role or he's playing as a second striker almost, right? So 9.5, 10 role. Good thing also is that he has finished two back to back 90 minutes. So we'll speak about Rogers a bit later. Looking at Watkins. I was saying Solanke. Ollie Watkins, I would say generally, I mean, if you bring up the stats part, I think Ollie Watkins had a very high XGI. I mean, there were, even though Arsenal kept a clean sheet, probably we should not have kept a clean sheet, right? Due to the chances created,
Two
as you
good chances, more or less, he missed.
had XG of 0.87, not 0.87, right? And one of those chances was like literally on plate. I don't know how he missed particularly that chance where Roger passed, and it was just like I think it was like 3, 4 yards out from the goal, and he missed that. That was a very high XG chance. And another one was the rebound chance that he got, and which Raya obviously did a wonderful world class save. But the only concern right now for Watkins is minutes, but generally we do see that Watkins even last season started exactly like the same way, right? He was not getting the minutes, and I fully expect Watkins' minutes to increase or rather improve from this particular game week because we also have to keep in mind that he did not have a very long, and he did not have any preseason in that sense, right? So these are like just the warm up and the preseason games for him where he has put 60-65 minutes under his legs in both the games, and I think he's perfectly okay and good to go for the next run of fixtures, and I expect him to stay around 80-85 minutes mark. Even I think anybody from Aston Villa, I mean, even a Bailey. I mean, we know what the pedigree of Bailey is. Did you own Bailey out of curiosity last season, Aditya?
No, I got him Watkins. I remember around game week 8 last season when he dropped to 7.9. I don't know. I shipped out Nicholas Jackson. I remember last season. I had him from the start and then I shipped him out for Watkins, and that was when the run started for Watkins. I mean, from he dropped from 8 to 7.9, and then the price just shot up throughout the season. And good memories of having Watkins, but not Leon Bailey. But We'll discuss about Nkunku's replacements. Probably he is also there in the list of
Yeah,
players to target in
because
that bracket if you're looking at.
obviously it depends a lot. Depends on the team structure that everybody is carrying, and it will be different due to the pricing for everybody. Because I don't see uh, at least a strong template growing yet. But yeah, and eventually, these picks in midfield are not bad. But right now, the biggest differentiator, if you are lagging behind and if you're looking like chasing or something, or even if you are trying to consolidate your position, I think Watkins is the biggest differentiator that you can get right now. Right? I don't know if we have Aston Villa defenders also in the buy category, Aditya, but I think we should also give a shout out to that as well, because there will be a lot of people who are having or in requirement of a defensive change, especially due to probably we'll look at some of the list of players that we are looking to sell. If you are probably like me, you are holding Kwanzaa, or you have somebody who is not starting anymore, or somebody like a Hall, perfectly good time to get into Aston Villa defenders as well, with a like good run of fixtures. One particular defender, I mean, we obviously know about Pau Torres and SD Consa and everything. Um, the right back position is something that we should be mindful about. So currently, if it's not known to you, Matty Cash got injured, and it has been said that he'll be out with a hamstring injury for around a month. So he'll be missing
Hmm.
around 3 to 4 matches. And the replacement is right now an 18-year-old guy called Nedeljkovic. I hope I have not butchered
Yeah,
the
Costa Nedeljkovic, believe
yeah,
in him.
Nedeljkovic. And best part is he's a 4 million defender. So until and unless Aston Villa buy a right back, by the window. I mean, the best thing is we will see the window closing before the transfer. I mean, the FPL deadline. So if they're not buying that right back spot, they are looking into a particular right back right now. I'm forgetting the name. If they don't buy him, then yeah, brilliant option for
Get through that.
yeah, get to that. So yeah, brilliant option for 4 million.
See, next is your man or Arsenal boy.
Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka, although I would say probably right now he isn't a buy unless you're looking to wildcard, or if you are not looking at it at a long term sense. I mean, if you look at immediately, the immediate three fixtures are Brighton at home, which is a very decent fixture. Tottenham away, generally, Arsenal and Tottenham both turn up, and it's a, if not a goal fest, it's there are healthy amounts of goal. Man City away is probably not a very good favorable fixture for Saka, but we have seen him score against City as well. So after that, the fixtures are just brilliant, like Leicester home, Southampton home. So yeah, if you're looking at Saka in a long-termish kind of a way, there are all the merits. I mean, he's the penalty taker of the team. He's involved in, and I genuinely feel like watching Arsenal this time around. A lot of our attack has been transitioned towards the right hand side, because uh, the left hand side of our field is basically for holding width. We might see that change with now the signing of Merino that has happened. So we might see some sort of difference where we are attacking from both the fronts. But yeah, Saka has got the majority of the attacking share, at least as of now. So yeah, decent enough buy. But if you are looking for short term, I would not buy Bukayo Saka.
Luis Diaz.
What do you think, Aditya? Like, what are your views on Luis Diaz? And in general, I mean, I would like to put this as a question. So, suppose if somebody is already tripled up on Liverpool, then yeah, well and fine. You just hold your Liverpool assets, at least if they are playing, not like me who has Kwanzaa who's not playing. If not, like, would you be putting Luis Diaz as your third Liverpool option, considering if I'm considering like Trent and Salah the first two options?
I mean, it is sort of a coin toss between Diaz and Jota. Is just purely that Liverpool. I mean, the goal they scored was a classic Liverpool counter-attacking goal that he scored. last week, and it is just purely because I mean Jota is around like 19% ownership and DS is under 10%. So again, if you want to look at a different differential point of view, ownership point of view, where you want to climb up, then it's DS. But I think overall, it's a I mean, Trent and Salah is more or less if people have him, you're done. And the third slot is up to us if you need to pick him or Jota. I mean, fair to say, great option. Both him and Jota are good. DS is obviously, we don't know Liverpool's attack right now. They've got Chiesa. So that rotation of things might
Yeah,
start
we
as
need
well.
to see how that is integrated. I mean, like for anybody who does not know, like they signed Chiesa, I think, this evening itself, like a couple of hours back, the entire formality was finalized. I would say about this, like Liverpool attack wise, I would confess I had not seen much of Arne Slot. No, I probably did not know also much about Arne Slot. What I've watched about Slot or what I've understood about Slot from watching 2 game weeks worth of matches, not much of a data. I think he generally is somebody who not does not like to tweak around with his team too much, right? So he has a fixed set of like, this is my best 11, which will start every game week at least until Europe and other equations come into the factor. So in that sense, Luis Diaz looks very nailed on and good for minutes. So that sense, Luis Diaz is a tick, and it's a good buy. Assuming if the question is, and suppose if you're not owning Jota, if the discussion is between getting a Jota and a Diaz, I would, me as personally as an FPL manager, I would rather go for Jota because ultimately Jota is playing as a center forward, right? And he's good at a lot of things. He's good heading the ball from corners. He's good from open play. He's good from counter attack. And generally, what's speaking about Diaz, like what suits Diaz is, I don't know if you have noticed this, but I get this general feeling like most of the goals under slots are, slots team are more of a counter attacking kind of a goal. Like they're not building up to a goal, they are counter attacking and scoring the goal, right? So obviously that makes Luis Diaz a brilliant option because he is a very good runner with the ball and without the ball as well. So yeah, but if the question comes between Diaz and a Jota, I would go Jota. If in any case somebody cannot afford a Salah, then probably a Diaz and a Jota double up is not the worst thing. So yeah, that is like my conclusion to this. I think Trent is obviously I don't own Trent, but although he has not scored big, but he has looked very it is down the line. It is coming. He's been very involved, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my viewpoint on Diaz.
Okay, next, last three names, pretty not that surprising. I mean, Mbuemo people are looking a
I'm a
lot
big
at
fan
him.
of Buemo. So Mbuemo is doing Bumo things all over again. I really thought about going and starting with him in game week 1. I didn't because the fixture did not support. As I said, I'm a very fixture based manager. Brilliant fixture this game week. A promoted team at home. I fully expect Bumo owners to score well. Congratulations to whoever owns him already. Looking at from a transfer viewpoint, I probably would give it a miss unless if you can look to switch around Boomo to somebody else for the next game week and then buy him back again. But that again costs two transfers, two free transfers or hit, whatever way you look at it. The best fixture run probably starts from game week 6, and then it's a brilliant run of fixture. But yeah, amazing fixture this game week. Nothing much to speak about. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean, 7.5 is going to be talisman, set piece taker.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
everything
I
goes.
mean, we are getting very clear messages that Tony would not be featuring in the Brentford team. So yeah, we know he is the penalty taker and he's an amazing penalty taker at that as well. So nothing. I mean, if somebody wants to actually buy right now, or again, he falls under the category of probably like what we spoke about in the last slide. If you're wildcarding, it makes sense. If you want to go for a long run, like a Saka, so he's not somebody who can't score against City or Tottenham. Probably you can play him in that sense as well. But for looking for a one-off buy, I probably would not buy Bumo this game week, in spite of a brilliant like fixture.
Okay, since we're on Mbumo, we've got a question from Kanchi FPL. He says, if Tony leaves, would you consider playing Mbumo even through difficult fixtures?
I think he, along with first of all, thank you for the question, Ganji. In that midfield like price range of 7 to, if I consider the range from 7 million to like a Bruno and Odegaard, I think Bumo and Eze are like a dream buy. I mean, they do everything. So these two definitely. I mean, they. I'm not saying they're a season keeper, but they are like a face keeper. If you are, these are the players that you will be least worried about. That they are not giving me points, or do you need to transfer them out? So they are reliable picks. They'll keep on ticking and they'll keep on giving points. And Bumo, especially, the brilliant thing about Bumo is he plays the full entire 90 minutes, and we know most of his goals are scored after 80 minutes. So he has a very good run and he is very potent against tired legs. So you'll see a lot of late boomer goals.
Okay, that being done, next, I mean, I didn't include a Villa defender, but a lot of people are wildcarding, a lot of managers are looking at Forest defender. Maybe to one option if you're going to ship out, let's say, a Kwanzaa and maybe Mikolenko and some of the other defenders who have not performed well so far. What do you think of Forest defense overall so far?
So this is a particular category of player that I have extensively looked at. To be very honest, why? Because I have Kwanzaa from Liverpool who is 4.4, and if you see Ola Aina is also 4.4 after his price drop, and he got the maximum bonus and a clean sheet last match. So I was really looking at getting Aina. The only problem for me is that this is the only fixture which probably is the best fixture for them. Although fixture ticker says green, Liverpool away definitely no clean sheet. I don't see Brighton away as a green fixture at all. Like they will concede. That's for sure. If I talk about Fulham home, I'm not really confident Forest can keep a clean sheet. And Chelsea away, we have seen what Chelsea can do. So yeah, probably I wouldn't be buying a Forest defender right now. If you're looking at like a 1 week punt, wherein you'll be wildcarding from game week 4, so yeah, brilliant 1 week punt on a Forest defender in general.
What if you're on a wild card? I mean, we'll talk about that later. What do you think?
On a
Still,
wildcard, this game week I wouldn't buy. If it's, as I said, if it's a 1 week punt, and if you're looking for like a differential of the week, and you're looking to get an advantage for this particular game week, knowing fully in the mind that you'll be uh, using, or you can afford to rather bench the Forest defender over the course of the next 2 3 game weeks. So yes, absolutely. Forest defense, especially Aina or Mario, makes a lot of sense. Sorry for the voice, guys.
last
Still suffering from that cold and cough. Yeah.
last name we have is Semenyo. Someone was impressed so far in the first two game weeks, priced at I think 5.5 midfielder, 13 points so far. I think some pretty interesting numbers. No, I mean he's had 12 attempts on goal. That's tied up with another player that people are shipping out. Will not reveal his name now. 12 attempts on goal, 16 touches in the box, and Bournemouth so far are at 29 attempts on goal.
So
Interesting,
Bournemouth have
interesting.
like exceeded expectation, right? Like we expected them to be a bit like not so good after Solanke leaves. But I was always like, when I saw the price list and the player list being published by FPL, I was like really happy to see Semenyo, because I owned Semenyo for a large part of last season where he was a forward. So I knew his position is forward, but he is classified as a midfielder. Eventually, Solanke leaving was even bigger jump for Semenyo. I mean, specifically, why I put Semenyo into this is, um, from an attacking standpoint, Everton away, Everton defense right now is shambolic. So very good fixture for Semenyo. Chelsea home, Chelsea aren't exactly the defenders delight or clean sheet delight right now. So good, and he provides an interesting alternative to um, probably a Smith Rowe that people are buying. So in the same price bracket, if you're looking to go a bit different, and especially a good fixture from Game Week 5 onwards as well. Southampton home, Leicester away, playing back to back to promoted team. Brilliant fixtures. So somebody definitely do consider and have a look around. Even the forward as well, Evan Nilsson. I mean, we need to see
Yeah,
how he turns around, but I
but
can tell you, will
there
be
was something. He's a third underperformer so far in game week 2.
yeah. So you can already see the influence. Like I mean, he's a Brazilian. So yeah, I don't know if he's Brazilian or Portuguese. Hope I'm not getting it wrong. But yeah, I mean, the flair eventually will come, and if they do keep performing, I can assure you they will be a very popular pick in wildcard when people are wildcarding in the game week 6 around now. Okay, so
Okay,
let's
so
move on to players we should hold. I think Haaland, there's no question why you should hold. Um, I
this
mean,
is for wildcarders
let's put this category as whether you should hold or you should hold off
or
on buying. Either case, right? So Haaland, if you own, definitely, I mean, there's no question that you should hold, especially the next two fixture because if you're looking to sell Haaland, it should be around game week 5 mark. West Ham, Haaland traditionally is a very good. He's probably a captaincy choice this game week. Brentford, you'll not sell Haaland at a home fixture, obviously. Um, KDB, I would hold off on buying. I mean, KDB, I would rather probably sell. If somebody has been starting with KDB, I wouldn't mind a switch to somebody like a Palmer if you can afford that, right? So I would say Palmer is a better pick than KDB right now. And if you look at the list of the premium midfielders that we had, I think we had six in the game. No, sorry, like premium players including Haaland. KDB and Foden right now are the only ones who haven't returned as yet. So yeah, I would hold off on that. Guardiol again is a good hold. But if you are wildcarding, depends now. If you're wildcarding in the game week 6 mark or like game week 5 mark, probably you'll not start with them. But then again, you need a plan to get them back by game week 7. So City on a wildcard will not be a permanent fixture. If you're looking to wildcard now, I think you start with City and then you eventually ship them out. So they will be your transfer out for game week 5, right? But yeah, you definitely need City for the next two game weeks. What's your thought on Eze?
yeah, I mean SJ, the player which I was talking about, he and Semenyo have had 12 attempts on goal so far. Really shocking that he's not returned, right? That's the thing. Although Palace did play the game, I mean the midweek game that they have obviously of the League Cup, and I think they won 4-0. Kamada scored once, Mateta scored twice, and Eze also scored. So good
This we are
sign.
speaking
I
about
get
the Carabao Cup, right?
yeah, the League Cup midweek.
Yeah, League Cup. So good to see Eze score finally be involved. I think Eze along with Bruno have been the biggest XGI underperformers till now in the season. So definitely both of them should have got some kind of a return. I for me Eze at least till now is a definite hold till the Leicester match at least. Then you can probably take a call if it's working out or not. But if we go by the underlying stat, nothing suggests that we should be selling Eze right now. It will be, see, people will be chasing a lot of, I mean, like people will be, I can understand the temptation to jump for a player that has scored in game week 2, but you never know that the player that you're selling might be scoring in game week 3. Right? Eventually, they will also have their turn, and Eze is a prime commodity considering he's a penalty taker for the team as well. That we are absolutely assured about. So yeah, definite hold for me. Isaac Gordon is somebody I would. This is a position that I am myself. I am in. I mean, with a lot of managers obviously who hold Isaac. I would hold because suggesting from what the past experience of a Spurs at home match from the past couple of seasons that we have seen against Newcastle. Um, I understand because we have to take Newcastle's thing first match. I mean, obviously the red card was a very big factor. Second match, I don't know why, but Eddie Howe, I don't like that manager. But yeah, he made a lot of changes which were not probably very productive in that sense. I mean, they did not contribute to the attack in particular. Biggest factor for Isaac Gordon would be Tonali will be available. Sandro Tonali, his ban gets lifted off. He is available for selection from game week 3, and the manager has told, although I don't believe the manager's word, but he has told that he'll be available in the squad. So I think once they did not look bad in the last part of the match. If you have seen the match, what are your thoughts about Isaac and Gordon? For me, they are a
I
whole.
mean, yeah, they are a hold. I mean, Gordon did get a 10-pointer again, not to forget. But the thing is, people expected a lot. They expected double-digit hold every week for the initial few games. That's not possible. But I think, to be honest, as you said, right, the first game, the red card changed things. The second game, the lineup only was a little bit weird in
Traditionally,
the way
also,
they
I mean,
played.
like Bournemouth away have been always been a difficult fixture for Newcastle. So
Difficult.
did not expect a battering in that sense. I think our call also was a draw, which eventually turned out to be a draw. So I don't think. I think the temptation for people for Isaac is if you have the point 0.5 FN moving for somebody like a Watkins. I
Hmm.
understand the temptation, but you never know because what Isaac has that what Watkins doesn't have till now is the minutes. Like Isaac is playing there for 90 minutes, right? Watkins currently is not getting a minute. So I mean, there is obviously a world where Isaac can perfectly match or even outscore Watkins over the next two. Granted, the fixtures are definitely better for Watkins, but I am generally a bit shy to ship off players when they have a home match. I generally, by rule of thumb, that it's ominous if you're selling somebody at home, especially if they're a good player.
I
So
mean, it will just if he gets his chances, he's going to take it. So if Newcastle, obviously home game win, we know how Newcastle play at St James Park. So I think fair to say,
I
I think
think
he should
Gordon should
probably
be a
captain.
hold, shouldn't it be? Because like, what are the midfield options right now? I mean, apart from the ones that we have discussed, so you would rather watch Gordon for a game week than get Madueke, who might or might not start. I mean, if he starts, definitely you can ship Madueke, Gordon for Madueke. But apart from that, I mean, if you're looking to ship down to a Boomo for one game week, probably you're looking to jump to Eze. I mean, even if you're jumping to Eze, still Gordon at home is a hold for me. I mean, you can do that next game week as well. So, yeah, I don't particularly see. I would hold. That's
This is what we got a question as well. Gordon he must sell after the next two fixtures.
okay. Shout out to Yash for end of the pod, first of all. Gordon, I think the match after the next two fixtures is also Fulham away. I mean, Gordon is a sell considering what we see of him in the next two fixtures.
Next 2 weeks, exactly. Yeah.
Right now, I would say it's a lot of unknown. And eventually, Gordon also scored the point, but not exactly how we expected him to score the point. He got the goal, but he got it from the right hand side. We don't see Gordon starting usually from the right hand side, right? So the positional factor will play a lot of into the conversation whether we should be keeping hold of Gordon or not. So yeah, as of now, is a hold. If he's performing, you will keep a hold of him at least for the Fulham match. I can see a world where you are shipping Gordon out if you are wildcarding in game week 6. I mean, they are not probably a necessity after that. But till now, yeah, I think these are good fixtures for Newcastle attacker particularly. I can't say much about defense. If you are looking to ship out defense, well enough, you can do that. But attacking wise, good fixtures. Moving on.
Okay. Quick
Arsenal.
thoughts on Arsenal. Arsenal defenders.
Yeah, you talk because I am very clear. I mean, if you are looking to hold Arsenal defense for the season, I think I'm not saying we'll get all the clean sheet, but yeah, I mean they are a season keeper generally, but eventually,
For me, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I started game week one with Saliba. For a fact, what I've seen last season and what we've seen so far this season as well, just two games. As you said, I mean, there's nothing wrong keeping an Arsenal defender. I mean, they're just going to take points. Whenever they can keep clean sheet, they will keep. Whenever the shit goal goes in, it will go in. You can't help. But they've played well so far. Defensively, they're still looking strong. So I mean, yeah, big games, it's a different thing. You might either see a goal fest or you might see a snooze fest. So you never know. But I think there's still a hold. There's no question of selling for me at this
Yeah,
point, unless you
if
want
you
to get the funds out and upgrade somewhere else.
see, if you are already have a Arsenal defender, they are a hold. If you are looking to wildcard, they are a buy, because eventually once you have used your first wildcard, you wouldn't be wanting to spend your transfers a lot on defenders, right? So if you want stability defense wise, you definitely have to consider an Arsenal defender, be it in the form of a goalkeeper. You can go for Raya, or you can eventually get Saliba or a Gabriel. Even we'll see the situation of Calafiori or Timber grow. So if you're moving, and I think that's a very luxury move. You're moving sideways, and if we figure out that Timber is a regular starter, so yeah, definitely, that is a vanity move in that sense. But yeah, they are definitely cool by any definition. Poro been a season favorite up till now for me. I mean, he has saved me a lot. I particularly don't have any other premium defender apart from Porro right now, and he has delivered. But in saying that, I don't mind playing Porro for Newcastle away, but yeah, Arsenal home I don't expect much, and I think he has on and off fixtures. If he's not a priority sell, you can hold. If you don't have any other move, I would look out probably to sell. If you can upgrade, obviously. If you don't own Trent or somebody, and if you're going for somebody better, definitely. Another player I think we forgot to mention in the buy category is somebody like a Robertson. So
It's good to say.
yeah, for people who can't probably afford Trent, Robertson looks good. He's attacking, and he's a million cheaper than Trent. And the move from Porro to Robertson is a lot less taxing on the budget as well. So yeah, decent buy. I mean, Robertson is somebody also you should consider from Liverpool's attack or defense, whatever you called it. So yeah, if I mean getting Porro out would not be my priority move in that sense. He's not an immediate set. Okay, Phil
Phil
Foden.
Foden.
I would. I mean, we have already discussed City enough, and I think we
Yeah.
know about City enough. Phil Foden, if he's starting, he's definitely a hold. I fully expect him to start. I mean, it was a one-off thing, and I think we mentioned this in the first game week pod and even the midfield pod, because I said that Ipswich would be a nothing match for City in that sense. They can win without Foden. Exactly what happened. He wasn't even in the squad. I don't expect him not to be there. So again, if you can make that move from Foden to Palmer, I would, and then probably look at a way of getting back Foden later down the line. But if you don't have that kind of money, it's a perfect good hold. I do expect him to be involved in some sense. Definitely after the international break, he's in any case starting unless he gets an injury or something else. But yeah, I do see him being involved. Let's move on to
Uh,
the sell category. Hyunmin Son, he has not given any reason to sell. I mean, obviously, it would be. I'm starting from bottom up, bottoms up. So he obviously scored the brace. What I saw about the brace one, I think it was entirely Pickford's fault. The first
the
goal,
first
it was
just
yeah.
gifted it.
Son still have that leg and still make those pressing runs, brilliant. But again, if you can make that. Suppose there are people who have Saka and Son. So like the question might be, and something I have also considered. I have Saka, whether I should make the move towards a Palmer or not. I think for Saka, I probably would not this game week since he has a home fixture. For Son, I would say if you're looking to offload, it's a good, because Newcastle away is not exactly the easiest fixture. in the Premier League. It's one of the toughest. And after that, he's playing against Arsenal, and then other commitments, European thing and international break. A lot of things will come into play. So, in that sense, yeah, he is a sell. What do you think about Lewis Hall? Are you a Lewis Hall owner? Because my
Yes.
inclination is, I have Hall. So yeah, I would like another opinion. What do you think?
I mean, if you have enough transfers to ship him out, then. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure those of us who are not wildcarding have much bigger fires to put off at this point, other than Luis. All. I mean, in my situation, I have Konza, and I have Nkunku, and I have Bruno as well. So three. I've got three flames around me. Hall is not a problem at this point. Probably it was a few Newcastle fans said that it was a tactical reason to bench him against Bournemouth because they had to kind of take care of the long balls and the crosses with the Hall being kind of susceptible. Only for that reason, they kind of benched him and they expect him to start. And somewhere I was reading that maybe Trippier might also enter in the fray here and
Because
with
they look better once Trippier and Hall were subbed in. They were looking very. I mean, the general gameplay of Newcastle improved because that's what I felt, and that is the only
I
part of the
mean,
match I watched because I was confused why they were not doing well.
yeah, I mean, it was Lloyd Kelly who played with Kraft. I think what happened was even the attack will get benefited is what they was. I mean, some of the Newcastle fans were saying once Hall plays, so they expect him to play this game and fairly say that. I mean, it was just a tactical reason for the benching. Let's hope it's that's the case. If not,
I
probably
think,
we'll
as
see
I
down
said,
the line what we can do.
for Newcastle particularly, these are not good defensive fixtures. So if you are looking to ship out Hall in that sense, absolutely makes sense. Uh,
Wildcard, then you can ship off.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the case. If you have
absolutely.
luxury transfers and all, in that
There
case.
is no question of holding in one wild card. If like me, I mean, I do expect Hall actually to start to get minutes, but not exactly probably to get a return in that sense, or a clean sheet or in that. So yeah, as you put, you'll obviously prioritize an attacking transfer before a defensive transfer. But like me, if you don't have a attacking transfer to do, I would ship out Hall, which is something that even I am looking at to ship out Hall. Moving on to Mikalenko. Mikalenko, I think generally, I think we can end the discussion by saying that Everton defense right now looks horrible. So until and unless Brantwaite situation is cleared out, if he's not sold, Brantwaite comes in, and we also get Tarkowski. I think I wouldn't be touching Everton's defense at all. The only caveat is that they are playing at Bournemouth at home, but I would still expect Everton to come. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet against Bournemouth as well. As at least that's how
I
Bournemouth are.
mean, so far,
Yeah.
the way Bournemouth are playing, it looks like they're going to just score. But I mean, it wouldn't be, sort of, it would be very funny to see Everton winning the game and keeping a clean sheet. Typical Sean Dyche thing happening.
Maybe typical FPL.
Typical FPLS will troll, but they did. I mean, just not going to make much of sense. They won the League Cup game against Doncaster 3-0. They kept a clean sheet there. It was the wrong place they kept it. Let's see if they manage to keep it against Bournemouth.
Talking about Bruno Fernandes and Nkunku together, I would say, the few seasons back, people were holding on when Lukaku was playing at United. People held on to Lukaku for a very long time, and eventually he scored a brace. So at this point of time, I think the reason for holding these picks, I am not saying they are bad picks, but it is more like you want a validation, like your pick was right. For me, it makes sense. It was a mistake, easy to jump up. For in Bruno's case, definitely it's a home fixture for both of them, but I would sell. Just end the pain. If they are good once again, you can get back to them because uh, I'm not saying that Bruno can't score against or give points against Liverpool at home, but especially for Nkunku, I think when there's a question about starting, I would not be keeping him at all. He's a definite sell for me. Bruno
I
probably
mean,
think about holding, and Nkunku definite sell for me. I think that is also popular, transfer out this game week, and we would be talking about one particular replacement that a lot of people, and he has also had a price rise. So let's look at Morgan Rogers and why people are moving towards Morgan Rogers in that sense. So positionally, we saw like he is the most advanced player, and if you look at generally like his involvement in that sense, 27 passing attempts, he's completed a lot of passes, expected progressions via pass, everything suggests that there is, he's not probably somebody you are looking to get a brace or a hat trick from, but you can tell that he'll be involved, right? And he offers brilliant value. Also, it is somebody like if you're downgrading from Nkunku to Rogers, it also gives you a budget if you probably are holding up Petro Poro and you can easily upgrade to Trent, which is a move I would have done, right? So yeah, Rogers makes perfect sense. I think we already have spoken a lot about Rogers. Anything you want to add as to why? Special thing is, I mean, like the major mentioning point is he's playing 90 minutes, so that is something that we always look towards.
I mean, the only few things, I mean, quickly that I want to add is that obviously, uh, 5.1. If I mean, from Nkunku, if you're going to downgrade, you're going to get the funds. You can upgrade elsewhere. He's playing 90 minutes. He looked well so far. I mean, Watkins missed the chance, so he didn't get the return. And Villa obviously have a Fisher swing, so you will kind of expect something. So yeah, I mean, it's a good option to get, and that's why he's got a prices, and so many people are going up. I think the train is about to leave the station if you want to get him at an early price. Let's see if he gets returns, then the train will become a bullet train. That's a different thing. But I mean,
His
yeah,
general ball
five.
progression, I mean, stats is very good. He's carrying the ball and he's essentially being parked there at the final third of the opposition, and he's bound to get a return just by the positioning itself, right? So
Hmm.
makes perfect sense. Good run of fixtures. Wouldn't overthink it. Obviously, if it's a choice between getting a Watkins and a Rogers, you would want to get Watkins. But Rogers is a very he's like a perfect glue guy. Not eats up a lot of budget, and somebody you can consider for a seventh or an eighth attacker, and eventually he can also bench. Like he's only 5 million, right?
Just quickly, I want to throw out one thing here. If I mean, if vast majority of us have Nkunku and some of them you shift out, it's fine. If you were to replace Nkunku, who would be your top three picks? I mean, you have to look at probably 6.5 and below. I mean, Rogers probably is one of the names. We can just take his name off the list. Who
It
would be
depends if
the
you're
other two?
if you're downgrading or upgrading. Obviously, if you can upgrade, I wouldn't mind going to an SA. But assuming that most people won't have that budget, downgrading wise, I think Rogers for fixture, Smith Rowe for fixtures again, good role. Semenyo, somebody to look at also. So yeah, probably these. Anybody else?
Gibbs White, if you have point one, point two in the bank,
But then
you can
again,
go
it's
for
just for one
Gibbs.
fixture. Gibbs White, you're looking only for this fixture, and then you have to figure out a way to bench or something like that.
I mean, that's fine. It depends if based on your score structure. If it's a fifth midfielder or something like that, you can play the third forward again.
Ideally, you would have liked to hold on for one more game week, and even if you're making that sideways move towards another Chelsea midfielder, it's not a bad shout considering
Yeah,
Chelsea's fixture.
Maduiki would
Yeah,
be the best sideways move. What is
yeah,
available
that
at this point?
wise, but ideally, yeah, I would have if I would have owned Nkunku, I would have shipped him out for Rogers or Smith Rowe, definitely.
Okay, we'll come to that
Even
later.
Bailey,
And
yeah, so Bailey
what I
also.
want to discuss next? Wildcard draft. Since we spoke a lot about buy, hold, and sell, right? Let's look at
Yeah.
wildcard because knee-jerk wildcard, rage wildcard. I don't know what you want to call.
So wildcard draft, especially was made with in the mind that a lot of people are considering wildcard. First of all, I mean, if I talk about my particular stance about wildcard, I generally feel. probably like this season there is no right time or wrong time to wildcard. The pros for this wildcard would be one, that the transfer window gets over before the FPL deadline, so you are not in for any surprise after you wildcard. So any player coming in, that probably won't happen. You get a good time. I think it's closes Friday night, and we have the FPL deadline on Saturday. So in that sense, wildcard is good. Why the wildcard I would be against is because right after you wildcard, there is an international break, and traditionally we know a lot can happen over international break. So that is probably the only thing that you'd rather wildcard over the international break, right? For game week 4, because you get a lot of time. You get to ponder about, change, chop and change, react to any news coming in. But yeah, I mean, definitely a good time because as we already spoke at length about Aston Villa, their fixtures do change. So, quickly speaking about the goalkeeper choice, I think I would just like to remind that this particular draft also has 0.9 million in the bank, right? So it is not entirely made up of 100 million budget. Flecken at goal, their fixture turnaround from game week 6, so that gives a chance to react. You can probably get another 4.5 million goalkeeper if you fancy, or just simply. I mean, I would give a shout out to Flecken. He has been in a good run of form. I mean, considering he has faced tougher opponents, he has been decent giving save points. Trent, I think we don't need to speak about Trent. Makes sense as it is. You need to own Trent, and eventually you need to look to move out if you want to after game week 6. Um, Double Aston Villa defense. I can totally understand if you're not looking to do that, and probably you can ship or take a like a Robinson kind of a guy from Fulham, who also has a good run of fixture till game week 6, and then look to change out. But otherwise, I think Aston Villa defense, I would say, is a must and necessity. Dunk for the changing fixtures from next game week onwards. So Brighton has a good run of fixture from next game week onwards. So Dunk is a reflection and reaction to that. Ipswich's fixture turns from this game week. So if somebody is looking for an extra Uber differential, Ipswich Town is perfect. Their fixture run is good for a quite a long time. I'm just looking at fixture. What do you think about the midfield?
Yeah, I mean, Saka. I mean, there's no Liverpool midfield. That's what is a bit iffier. I mean, you said you have point 0.9 right in the bank. So if you maybe I mean, instead of Eze, you could go for Jota.
Point nine, considering
Just
my budget, if somebody else is doing it, probably they have a million in the bank.
I
So
mean, let's see, because there are a lot of price rises and drops here, so it must have gone up and down at this point. Don't know. So yeah, I mean,
I
just
think,
one Liverpool midfielder is what I
yeah,
would say.
the Liverpool thing, I think it will totally depend upon your captaincy decision for me. If you're looking to captain Haaland, I don't think you need a Liverpool defender. I mean, midfielder, sorry, for the next two. If you're looking to captain Salah, then you can easily replace Haaland with probably a Watkins and upgrade a midfielder to a Salah or a Jota, or whatever you can afford in that sense, right? So, I mean, the drop off from Haaland to Watkins would be 6 million, plus you have a million in your bank, 7 million. So, you can easily probably upgrade a Eze to a Salah, and you can go with the three premium midfielder structure. So, if you're wildcarding, Palmer makes perfect sense. Also, I mean, it reacts to a lot of things. Isaac, as I said, good fixture. You hold. You also get the benefit of a Watkins if you're looking in that sense, or you can switch them later. So if you captain Haaland for the next two game weeks and then you look to completely flip it around with Eze and Haaland, you can do that. You can get Salah for the next game weekend. As you would ideally want to use your transfers to rotate the premium midfielder and strikers. So that was a thought behind this particular wildcard. So I would be going with something like this. And eventually this is not the final version of the wildcard, because a lot of it will also be is looking towards covering of what is coming ahead. I mean, when people eventually wildcard during game week 5, 6, 4, whenever Boomo becomes an option later, so a lot of things will happen. Yeah, this would be a good starting point for me, particularly this game week, because you're maximizing on Chelsea. I mean, like you're getting Palmer, you are absolutely targeting the Villa run of fixtures. You are getting Haaland. If you don't own Haaland, if you do own Haaland, I don't think you need to wildcard right now. That is again something that I would suggest. But if you don't own Haaland, then also good chance to own Haaland, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, and it was an interesting thing that you spoke about. I mean, use the City players for the next two, and then swap around with SA and Haaland and all. Yeah, it makes sense. We'll get more information by then. But this is just what you're reacting with what you have, what the first 2 weeks have thrown out, and if you have a lot of fires that you need to put out with some players not starting, some players not in good form.
Like if you have not used a transfer in game week 2 and this game week you are wildcarding, right? So next game week you are there holding I think three free transfers. So if I think
We
you
don't know
have a
whether they're going to give it three or two. We don't know. We'll see in game
yeah,
week four. I don't know how they're going to count it.
yeah. Somebody put it on Twitter like the people wildcarding this game week are beta testers for whether we actually get the role.
Yeah,
So you guys are saying I found it very really funny and yeah. So we have to
that means
see what.
FPL has not tested it well. That means let's see what happens.
Let's quickly move on to game week 3 fixtures just to see if we have covered everything or not. I think Arsenal, Brighton, we have spoken about Brighton, we have spoken about Arsenal, don't need to speak about them anymore. Everton, Bournemouth, pretty clear. I think Everton don't keep a clean sheet. Bournemouth look good attacking wise. I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth nick a win as well, at least at this moment. Although Everton gained a boost of confidence last night, they I think won 3-0 or 4-0 at the League Cup.
3-0.
Yeah, so that would be a boost of confidence. But got to mention none of the first team. I think most of the first team did not start. Leicester, Aston Villa, we obviously as per market odds as well. Over this game, we do see we expect a good score line from Villa and clean sheet odds as well. We've spoken about Leicester. I mean, I don't think we need to speak to Leicester about. I mean, about Leicester much in that sense. Don't know much. City, West Ham, City are a team on rampage. They ideally love to play against West Ham overall. So definitely good fixture, best fixture along with Arsenal as per the goals market, and also decent fixture for clean sheet odds. So also, I mean, I just want to put a quick question. Let's not spend too much time on it. So if somebody like me is deliberating a 4.5 defender, would you be moving towards a Villa defender or would you be looking to get somebody like a Rico Lewis?
I mean, the Rico Lewis is not a bad option, but I'm a bit concerned when Pep will do his roulette. When we'll randomly see Walker in the
But
lineup.
but do you see like Walker starting immediately? I mean,
I
let's
don't
assume
know.
I mean,
I mean,
Walker has not played for the first 2 game weeks. I don't expect Walker to be starting the next game week as well because he has obviously not played a single minute. To make him start would be odd. And then the international comes. I mean, until and unless Walker does not get selected for international friendlies, do you see him after the international start again game week 4? Because game week 4 also City have a good fixture against Brentford at home.
that's the only one thing that bugs me is I don't know when Pep is just going to bench Lewis for Walker. When that happens,
Interesting thing to keep in mind.
that's the only thing. If I was kind of assured like Walker is not near the squad and all, then Lewis would be definitely a no-brainer because I know that Konza from Villa or he's not going to play right back. He's going to play as the centre back, and we're going to have the 4 million guy probably play as the right back there. And on the left back side, it's Digne, but we don't know when Martin will play. So you're more or less restricted to just with your centre backs. But with Lewis, obviously, we
True.
know the way City play. So it's just if how long Walker stays away will benefit Lewis, but we don't have the answer. Only Pep knows.
Yeah, it's absolutely in the punt category, definitely. Spurs, Newcastle, we have spoken. No need to speak anymore. Brentford, Southampton, I think we have covered that extensively with Pumo and all. We expect Southampton, Brentford have a good odd for goals as clean sheet as well. So, very good fixture for Brentford for a 1 week run. Ipswich, Fulham, odds wise look much more even. I think we will see what exactly Ipswich is. We will have much more fairer idea this game week. Um, Forest Wolves, I think we have covered that. Chelsea, Palace, good fixture. Need to look out for the positional and what are the starting personals for Chelsea. But I do expect Chelsea to win this, and I think yeah, United, Liverpool also we expecting United to lose, right? I mean, obviously, I know you're hoping for win, but I don't see a win, to be honest.
Last week I was very not
Bullish.
optimistic, rather I would say bullish or pessimistic when we were speaking about Brighton. But unfortunately, this week I'm not. It's not like because Liverpool. Oh my God, that's a fierce rivalry going on there and on. But no, it seems that United players have a problem that they only get their heads up in such big games. And when all you're playing the other teams or not other teams disrespecting the other teams, they're kind of off. As soon as you have some big name, big game, everybody's looking attention, and suddenly you become the underdog. That is the time these guys kind of wake up and do something. It's a home game for us. We are not going to make it easy for Liverpool, and I don't expect them to come and just walk away with 3 points at Old Trafford. That's not going to happen.
I don't
I
see a
am
clean sheet.
confident of a United win.
You're
No, it
confident of
could be a
United.
goalless draw. Yeah, I'm more confident of a win. I might. It could even be a draw. I'm not sure because they are going to more or less keep the ball. We've seen how well Armstrong and they're more or less they are counter attack here, but a little bit possessive and they're very cautious the way they attack. They simply don't want to give away the ball. But it's going to be interesting to see how we line up. Whether we're going to actually go with the striker this time, or we're going to play with a false nine yet again, and keep our shape with pressing and all. I
But
don't know, but
you're like, confident of a win. Wow.
I think if we lose, I need to sit and cry in the next spot. We'll see that later, but I'm looking at 3 points from it. I might be the most optimistic fan at this point.
I don't see United winning this. To be very honest, I mean, the
It's
best case
going to be
scenario
a
would be a
struggle.
draw. But yeah,
But
let's see.
I need to something to keep.
I don't see United. Sorry, Liverpool keeping a clean sheet. If that is the question, but yeah, let's see. Let's move on
Bus
to our
teams.
teams now.
Bus teams. Let's look at our bus teams. I think that's what you wanted to say. We look at Sankalp's team first. Let me get it up. Where is it here?
So for guys wondering where Sankalp is, he's on holiday, chilling in some hill where he does not have much of a connection. He will be joining
But
us
he
back.
managed to triple captain 100 and get away with them.
Yeah, so he'll be joining us back. We will be doing a pod across over the international break. Before we discuss the bus team, guys, I mean, if anybody is watching, we forget to do this every game week. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. It helps YouTube recognize, and if you think the work that we are doing and the efforts that we are putting is worthwhile, know, just pay us back by giving a like and a subscribe and give shout out if possible. Right. So let's move on to Sankal's team. Henderson, Saliba, Robinson, Mikolenko, San Saka, Jota, Rogers, Eze, Isaac, and Haaland captain. I'm not sure of any moves that probably he might have, or is this after a move? I'm not sure. Last I
This is
heard,
what
I
he
think he
understood.
was what he told he was looking to switch Eze to Bumo. That's what I think he had communicated when we had spoken. But yeah, barring this, I think I don't see a particular move. He can roll if he wants.
I don't know whether he's going to ship Mikolenko, he's going to ship Son, Eze, or he's going to roll his transfer. Don't know. But it's not it's a well balanced team, and he's anyways the triple captainship work
Depending
for
on
him.
his transfers, I think he can do a move like Eze to probably somebody in the 6.5 million range, like a Bailey or somebody and move Son up to Palmer. Completely reliable
But
move.
He has Rogers, so he won't get Bailey
Why not double up?
in the game.
I don't
I
think
don't.
that's a that.
I'm not sure that's what he'll do. Like, he might do Isaac to Watkins also. I don't know what even he's planning.
One thing, like, would you play Munoz over Mikalenko?
Yes,
I would.
I would definitely play.
I understand. Like, as we already spoke, it will be the most Everton kind of a thing to do and keep a clean sheet. But why would you bench your most attacking defender in your
Yeah.
squad? So yeah, I think Sankalp,
Next
my
is
suggestion would be to switch as a. I mean, if you're looking and if you can hold perfectly, hold it. My team: Flecken, Poro, Robinson, Hall, Rogers, Smithrow, Salah, Saka, Jota, Haaland, and Isaac. Currently captain on Haaland. I'm perfectly fine with attacking seven as of now. I'm not, no, I'm not saying they're the best, but I'm okay to hold. I'll obviously not play both Poro and Hall, so I am looking at a transfer. Depending on obviously the transfer window, the transfer market, the actual deadline of transfer for the club. So I'll be waiting till Friday. I'm looking at getting either a Villa defender, and then my mind is wandering towards the punt like Rico Lewis and stuff like that. What do you suggest? What should I do?
I mean, consider where you're placed at the moment. I think I might give you the wrong suggestions, but I think I would probably kind of little safe here, not that risky.
Because
I
I
think a
totally
Villa defense.
intend to get Trent next game week. So like that is my plan
Then,
ahead in
that,
game
that
week.
is basically you want to ship. I think Kwanzaa would be the one who has to make
I
way
have to
for
ship.
Trent.
I have to ship for if I want to get Trent because I'm already doubled up on Salah and Jota. So that is the move that I will be looking down the line, like next game week probably. But yeah, it's a question. I mean, obviously, if I can make a savings in the form of like 4 million defender from Villa, Nedeljkovic. So yeah, why not?
But still, that's just a stopgap for some time until cash is back, or if they sign a fullback or the player that we spoke about, then again that's an issue. Again, we need to wait and see what happens in the transfer window. All right. Last but not least is my team here, and few days back even I was thinking whether to wildcard or not, but I don't want to, just throw away the chip at this point. Just want to wait and see what will happen this week, and then decide whether it's going to be an international break wildcard or something later. But for me, the two players that are definitely going to go out are Kwanzaa and Nkunku, and that's where I'm a bit confused. Which two players am I going to get in? Not sure.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you
Okay, I
are.
don't know what is the issue with my video. I'm not really sure. So your transfer would be Nkunku and Kwanzaa, you said, and you're
Hmm.
looking to move
Yes.
towards.
Not sure what to do. Maybe a Villa defender and Rogers, or I would look at Bailey for Nkunku, Rogers for Nkunku. Just
Okay.
looking at those players,
Yeah,
and
I would. I mean, if you are, yeah, I would move to Rogers. Since at least if you're not looking to move towards somebody like a Watkins, yeah, definitely. Why not? You have got good fixture for Hudson Odoi, Bruno Fernandes. It's fine. I think you will be playing Saliba along with whoever you're getting for Kwanzaa. And which out of Hall and Mikalenko are you planning to start?
uh, not sure. I need to. That's based on all the press conferences we get. If Lewis Hall more or less starts, I think I might play him over Mikolenko.
Okay.
But that's what it's how well the two transfers I use is going to shape up the team. So Nehal is saying Nkunku to Rogers and concert to Aher would be
But
probably
I
good.
will again would be a single game week pick, right? So like the
No,
not
no,
I would get a
I'm
Villa
not.
defender. Yeah.
Yeah,
For longevity's sake, I will get a Villa defender. Obviously, it also depends a lot on what the your plan is over wildcard. Like what do you want to
yeah.
do?
If game week 3 goes again as week to forget, then probably it will be wildcard. But anyways, we'll see. But
Okay,
Nkunku
so
and
that, that,
Konsa
that
are
is
gone.
our bust teams. I think one point of discussion before we wrap it all up. I think captaincy is something that probably we should be discussing this game week. So, like, if you want to quickly put it, like, who according to you is the best captaincy choice this game week?
I think Haaland. That's pretty much no brainer for me.
Okay. So I would also say like if you don't own a Palmer Haaland, Palmer is also a very viable choice. Haaland probably has a higher ceiling and he's on form as well. Completely left field if you're going for Watkins, I probably wouldn't, but I do understand if you are looking to get a differential captain. Whatever he score is all yours. Yeah, I think that's it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So again, like bringing back just to remind people that we will be doing a pod. I don't know if it will be a live, it will be a recording one, but I think we'll do a live one over the international break. So do join in with us again, guys. Do like and subscribe if you like our work, and we will be doing a extensive wildcard video over the international break, right? And Sankalp will be joining us, and let's see if we can get somebody else as well. Right?
Yes. That's it for this week. Those who are wildcarding, good luck with your picks. Those who
A
are
bit
not
longer
bringing your
the
picks as
pod,
well.
but I
Yeah.
think we covered off most of the players. Thank you
Yes.
guys for watching, and yeah, best of the week to everyone. Bye bye.